Hello and welcome to another new episode of Learning Simplified. Today in this tutorial, we are going to learn about a great feature that can be used with the aid of the CSS, which is known as CSS filtering effect. And we may apply these CSS filters to practically sharpen, to practically make necessary modifications on our images that we will be using into our project. So let's head back to the first phase. In the first case, we will be knowing about CSS filter properties in HTML and CSS. Stay tuned. Now, in some previous occasions, we have seen that whenever we need to make some modification into our images, we always need to rely on some third-party graphics software like we have used in this particular case. This is another graphics software, and the images, those we are about to use into our project, we are practically modifying them using this individual graphics software here. Now, this could be a great feature, but what about if we could make amendments to all those images using the CSS commands or CSS rules into our project? Then the possible outcome could be reduced time in making of our project. As an example, if we wish that this bottom leveled image, that means the image with the car, it will be having a less opacity, then we needed to make this amendment right over here. There it goes. Then we needed to export all these images to our HTML, and then we needed to use that image into our project. But what about if we could make all these amendments using those CSS filter effects? If we head back to this color segment here, and this is the hue saturation. So from here, if we make some amendments into our image, as we can see that the bottom leveled image is getting a different color here with this hue saturation part, or from the same, if we needed to invert this bottom leveled element, or we needed to do something else, like if we had to desaturate it. So all those amendments can be made using the CSS filter effect or filter properties. And this is exactly what we are going to learn in this tutorial. If we head back to our text editor, so we can see that these are the CSS filter properties or syntax that says that the filter can be used along with these definite parameters like this none or blur or brightness, contrast, drop shadow, grayscale. So we can make a lot of amendment via the coding here. We can practically implement a lot of different coding implying some different effects into the imported images. Those we are practically using into our project. As an example, we will be seeing a lot of things right over here. We will be practically seeing all of them. So in the first place, we are going to import an image here, image source. So images is the folder name, and we'll be using the one.jpg here. This is the file name, as we had said earlier, that this is the alt tag test image. Press Ctrl S, head back to your project and reload. So we can see that this will be the result. Now, as there be no definite dimension being mentioned into our coding here, if we head back to our code, we can see that so far no definite dimension has been mentioned. So we may use some definite dimension here, as we may specify the width and the height property as an inline CSS into our project, or on the other hand, which is the more sustainable way, we will be heading back to the style.css. So we have used this image under this background testing. So we'll be heading back to the style.css, and here we will be mentioning dot background. So we'll be copying this thing here right over here, and what we are about to customize the image part. So we are practically customizing any image that comes definitely within this dot background testing. and we are writing it as width, it will be 100%, and the height, it will be auto. Margin, there we don't need any kind of margin, and we do not need the float either, so there it goes. And instead of this width, no, let it be as it is. We are using this width 100%. So first of all, let's head back to our project and reload, and now we can see that the width has been set to the exact proportion of the div element that we had created. We had provided a 90% width for this background testing part, and so the exact same thing is being applied to it right over here. We will be applying some kind of CSS filter effects into our project, and in this case, in the first place, we will be using the filter of grayscale. Now we need to remember that this CSS filter properties, it mainly uses the percentage values, but in some cases we may define the decimal values, and it will be working as well. So in case of this grayscale, we will be putting this one value right over here. Now if we press Ctrl S and head back to our project and reload, we can see that immediately the image is now falling back into a complete grayscale mode. Now we had to do this earlier into this graphics software, but with the aid of this newly applied CSS filter effect property, we can see that we had done it just using a single piece of code right over here. So the grayscale mode is in 1,